Welcome to the MarketScale Studios. I'm Hilary Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, the modern worksite, it is constantly evolving. Corporate office spaces, work from home situations, those might have received the most attention over the past year, but warehouses have long been hubs of innovation. And customer expectations, they have never been higher, and that puts pressure on warehouses and supply chains across the country. So how do companies meet these demands while also keeping their warehouse employees safe? That is the challenge. So joining me today, I have two experts in the space to find out how. I have Yara Osko, Chief People Officer, and Sary Hassan, Product Owner at Redpoint Positioning. They're both here with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so we're going to jump right in with our first question. It's about asset tracking. It's an essential part of modern work sites and warehouses, but what are some of the gaps that people are missing or things that Redpoint provides the best use cases for?
I would say like in warehouses, generally speaking, assets is very important to track, but also you have to think about employee safety, about like emergency calls and stuff like that. So Redpoint PointSafe solution offer, for example, we can verify compliant for the operators if they're operating on the right forklift or not. We can, like if an employee get into an emergency situation, they can literally just like hit the emergency button on the Redpoint tag to notify their supervisor like, hey, I need help immediately, so they can take care of it in a timely manner, basically. So yeah, these type of solutions that, I mean, the easy of integrating our system to any warehouse system solution management, the Redpoint, yeah.
Well, so asset tracking, it means something totally different from job site to job site, but as a whole, what are the biggest problems in regards to tracking?
Yeah, so one of the biggest problems is losing materials. I can tell you that a lot of customers usually will do a lot of clerical work to make sure that the incoming material is taken care of and it's properly documented. However, once that process is done, it's usually forgotten, and they usually struggle finding them, and sometimes they even have to repurchase it. So what we do is we give you that real-time location to be able to figure out where they are and never actually lose sight of it. And this not only implies that you find it, but it also implies that your process goes much quicker, and you spend less money, spend less time, things go smoother.
Efficiency and saving money, two of the best things. All right, so let's talk about some situation applications. If there's one thing that sticks out at Redpoint, it's the company's dedication to not only accuracy, but safety as well, which is hugely important. And recently in the news, we've been seeing shortages in many of the major supply chains, causing an unprecedented demand for speed in distribution. So in a world where the demand for speed is increasing, how does modern asset tracking help enable that demand?
Yeah, I would say the real-time application is really what makes it much faster. Being able to get that quick insight into where your things are or where anything is, positioning is a very powerful piece of data that can allow you to speed up these processes.
Right, and everybody wants that right now.
Yeah.
So how does asset tracking also empower you to safely scale down after peak demands?
Yeah, that's a great question. So being able to consistently track in real time allows you to, constantly monitor and make sure that, you're meeting the supply that you need to meet at that specific time, not scaling down too fast, not, scaling up too fast, and make sure that you don't risk missing the demand that your customers were looking for.
Right. That's nice. You're not ever really caught off guard, which is great. So now we are moving on to the lightning round. So you're going to have 15 seconds to respond to each question. All right, so 15 seconds to give me a great answer. All right, so here is your first situation. A mining site has explicit instructions to avoid a specific plot of land on the site due to safety concerns. The plot of land sits in an area that could easily be accessed by both the machines and operators. So how can you use geofencing to help ensure that the section of land is not accessed? I'll start with Yara and go.
Yeah, so we can, the manager can set on our software side of the business, like the zone that people should not enter at all. So he can send messages to all employees, even the forklifts and everything, like says, hey, do not enter this specific place. And if someone even tried to. Oh.
Great job. That was fantastic. All right, situation 2. Mm-hmm. Exposed electrical wires are present in a warehouse after an accident. However, the incoming crew and operators aren't aware of the accident, that it's occurred, since they weren't present at the time of the accident. So how can you communicate the hazard to the team and guarantee safety for them?
Yeah, very similarly to the previous case, set up a geofence zone, which will let employees know that they're not allowed to enter that. Additionally, you can send messages down to those employees and also let them know that it has happened. So we have multiple ways to do so.
All right, so now we are on to situation number 3. Local regulations mandate a required distance of at least 100 feet in between hazardous chemicals and animal products in a warehouse. They also require that machines cannot cross-pollinate and that only designated machines can handle designated products. So how can you enforce that? Yara, 15 seconds and go.
Okay, so I would say like the manager can set up on our software side of the technology and solution zones for a specific team to enter, and then for the chemical and the same thing for the animal. So when other team try to cross other places, they will get warned, but the actual team, they will have no problem accessing.
And time, all right. I made it right there at the end. All right, so you guys did a great job of keeping your answers to 15 seconds. That was perfect. With situation 1 about the mining site, I know there was a little more to be said there because I had to cut you off at 15 seconds. And it was, how can you use geofencing to help ensure that a section of land wasn't accessed? So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's also like when you set up like a geofence for an area, our system like trigger right away, give you like enough time warning that, hey, you should not enter within a specific distance to that zone, right? And in mining, it's like it's a matter of a second for an accident to happen, right? So you have to give enough time, and our system helps that like prevent these accidents.
Fantastic. All right, so now we're going to play a little game called What's the Word? So we're going to be talking about integrating with your existing warehouse management systems. That's what our questions are going to be based around. I'm going to give you a list of words that you have to use in your answers or whenever you're making your statements, but as each word is used, you can't use it anymore. So once it's used, it's gone. All right, so these are the words that you have to use. Warehouse management system, integrate, IoT, safety, accident, machinery, robots, collision, flexibility, and PointSafe. I'm sure you memorized all of those right on the spot. So with that in mind, here's our first question. How quickly can a company or partner start using Redpoint's solution?
I would say like as soon as you install the PointSafe system, you can immediately integrate it with your warehouse management system and start using it.
You got 3 words. That's really good. All right. Our second question, what are the top 3 items you like to call out as benefits of real-time location services that Redpoint offers?
I would say Redpoint has a big IoT infrastructure. That's one huge benefit, and it goes back to being able to integrate with your system. Accident prevention, being able to notify people when things are happening. It just that previous feedback is very crucial.
Yes.
And then we also have a full positioning system that can be integrated not just with management systems, but also machinery and robots to be able to use that position efficiently through the warehouse.
You knocked 4 words out in that answer. Hats off to you. You guys are doing great. All right, I've got one more. To a customer who is unsure of making the upgrade or the switch to Redpoint solution, what would you tell them in terms of ease of integration?
What word do we have left?
Here's what you have left. Safety, collision, flexibility.
I would say because Redpoint has an open API, that would give the customer the flexibility of integrating and just like generate any data or reports they would like to have, or they will help their business to be more efficient and more safe.
Fantastic. I think you guys used every single word. You got safety, you got flexibility. Great job. Really good. All right, so now we're going to have just a quick Q&A conversation, and we're going to start off talking about OSHA compliance because that's hugely important. So what does Redpoint do to ensure OSHA compliance?
Yeah, so OSHA has many regulations that keeps worker safety in mind, and I would say we don't necessarily nail every single one in the head, but what we do is give you the flexibility so you can configure the system in a way that allows you to do so. That's really the part that makes Redpoint scalable and compatible with different types of regulations. Not necessarily OSHA, right? There's different parts of the world with different regulations that may be.
Yeah, that was another one of my questions, because one of the great things about Redpoint is you're flexible with other countries and other partners and also navigating their regulations.
Yeah, so being able to have that configurability is really key for us. We want to make sure that everybody can take advantage of our system in the way they see fit and necessary to get their work done.
Yeah, I would add to it also that like most of the OSHA stuff, it just counts on training your employees. Our system helps, like even if you're trained and you're not following, to trigger that alarm or like that notification to the management, like, hey, this employee not following specific things, or they had like a tons of warning on their ID or badge for Redpoint. So that would help the management like have more data of like who's really doing that training and who's not.
Right,
So
that's critical to know.
Yeah.
Well, so I also want to ask you about some relevant statistics. So high-powered machinery, vehicles, personnel, working in close proximity, that does create risks. So what are some relevant statistics that can help give us an idea of the problems that we're facing in terms of workplace safety?
Yeah, so one of the common ones is, approximately every year you have about 85 deaths and something like 35,000 accidents. So it's a pretty significant number. I mean, these are real people who are getting hurt. This is something that we're trying to mitigate.
Yeah.
And even from the cost side, like each incident, I think for the statistic number, it shows that they cost you between like 200,000 to like 300,000. So it's like a big cost for the business that you can prevent just using the right system and do the right training.
Right, that's huge.
Yeah.
Well, so how can Redpoint Solutions help prevent more of these accidents from happening?
I think Yara hit the nail on the head with her previous comment, which is essentially the training piece. If you create a habit to show people that this is the right way to do things, this is the right way to approach the problem, we'll not only be able to help you manage the system, but also teach people how to do these things. And just to add to that, most of those accidents that happen, 80% of them are actually people involved in it, right? Not just vehicles or something fell off, but actual people getting hurt.
Right. Well, so we're nearing the end of our chat, but if people want to know more about Redpoint or they have other questions, where can they go? Where can they find out more?
You can definitely go to our website. Yeah, redpointpositioning.com. We're also on LinkedIn, so feel free to research us there, and you can always give us a call if you have more questions. So.
Well, Yara and Sary, thank you so much for joining us here today in the MarketScale Studios. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much for watching. I'm Hilary Kennedy, and we'll see you next time.